As a part of our culminating activity in basic calculus, Ma'am Arlene Tanuenco has appointed each student from 11th sincerity one derivative problem. So I've got a quite easy one. So this is my problem. F of x is equals to 1 over x plus 1 over x squared all over x minus 1. Okay, so before we continue to the derivatives, we have to simplify this because this one problem is very complicated. So we have to simplify this and make it as x plus 1 all over x minus 1 all times x squared. Then we are going to take the derivative from this point forward. Okay, so it will be like this. This is based on our previous understanding in high school. Algebra and fractions alike. Okay, so let's begin our session. Obviously, we are going to use the quotient rule for this derivative. But first, we have to remember what is the quotient rule for the derivative. So this is how it goes. D over dx is equals to, if quotient rule, v times derivative of u with respect of x minus u times dv in respect with x all over v squared. So that is our quotient rule. So this is our base for our problem. Solution. Okay, next, there will be a little bit of product rule. So let's just remember how the product rule goes. D of x is equals to u times derivative of v with respect of x plus v times the derivative of u times with respect with x. Okay, so that will be the product and quotient rule that we will use later on. So let's begin. Okay, so let's start. So we already assigned what is u, what is the value of u, and what is the value of v for the quotient rule. So let's just make it clear that u is equals to x plus 1, u is equals to x plus 1, v is equals to x minus 1 times x squared for the quotient rule. But since this will be showing as a product rule, we are also going to do this. We are also going to assign its signs. Okay? So x minus 1 will be our u, while x squared will be our v. Okay? So let's just clear this one. The first one will be our quotient rule representations, and the second one will be our product rule representations. Okay, so let's start. First, we have to lay down all derivatives that needs to be collected. So we find x minus 1 times x squared, because that is v, times multiplied by the derivative of u, which is derivative in respect of x plus 1. Okay, so that will be the first set of terms, minus the derivative, let's just put a bracket here, the derivative d over x, the derivative of x minus 1 times x squared, as you can see, times x plus 1. X plus 1. Don't forget, we have to put the denominator, which will be x minus 1 times x squared raised to 2. Okay, so that will be our base form. Okay, next, on the other side of the board, we are going to distribute the product rule. So this will be quite a little confusing. So you can just rewind this video so you can understand it more complex. Okay? So we will only copy again. We copy x minus 1 times x squared, okay, multiplied by the derivative of x plus 1. We are not going to find the derivative yet because we are going to do it at one drop. Okay, minus. Okay, bear with me. Product rule. Remember, this is under the product rule. So we are going to use it, and we're going to distribute this one to this one respectively. Okay? Let's go back to the other side of the board and do what it has to go. So bracket x squared multiplied by the derivative of x minus 1 plus x minus 1 multiplied by the derivative of x squared. So let's just put here, and this is multiplied, this is a continuation, so unfortunately it doesn't fit to the board. Multiplied by x plus 1, x plus 1, because as you can see the other side of the board, there is still an x plus 1 that needs to be multiplied. Okay, so that is quite long. For now, we are not going to add the denominator yet to avoid any confusion for all listeners. So after that, we are going to simplify. We're going to simplify all the derivatives that you can see. So let's do this. X minus 1 times x squared times the derivative of x is 1 plus the derivative of 1, which is 0. 1 plus 0 is still 1. Minus x squared. We just put a bracket here. X squared multiplied by the derivative of x minus 1, which will be 1, plus, separation here, x times 1 minus 1, plus x minus 1 multiplied by the derivative of x squared, which will be 2x. Okay, so let's just put a closing parenthesis. Okay, never mind. A closing bracket, rather. Okay, then don't forget our mighty x plus 1. Don't forget, we still have to multiply x plus 1. Next is this one. Okay, let's just hold it higher. Actually, we will consider this at x minus 1 times x squared times 1 is still the same. X minus 1 times x squared times 1 is still the same, minus, then again the bracket, x squared times 1 will still be an x squared, plus, let's just say this is this is 2x, distribute 2x squared minus 2x, so this is plus 2x squared minus 2x times our x multiplied by our x plus 1. So let's just change it into parentheses so you can make it clear. Okay, so let's just make the calculations clear to see. Okay, so that will be it. Then after that, just keep in mind that this is just for the numerator. The denominator will just stay the same, and we will just move the 2 later on. Okay, so we are now down to our final solution. So we are just going to polish this equation, which is x minus 1 times x squared minus x squared plus 2x squared minus 2x times x plus 1 all over x minus 1 squared times x4. Where did this came from? This is the denominator before, which is x minus 1 times x squared all raised to 2. So we just have to distribute the power, and that will be the power rule in basic general mathematics. Okay, so what comes next? We are just going to combine like terms, which is x squared plus 2x squared. So that will be, we just have to copy x minus 1 times x squared minus x squared plus 2x squared will be 3x squared minus 2x times x plus 1 all over our denominator x minus 1 squared x raised to 4. This is our final solution, but we are just making it more beautiful here. So we are just going to separate this equation from this equation. Since it was been separated by a minus, we can say, therefore say, to avoid this unappealing look, we can say that our final answer is x minus 1 x squared all over x minus 1 squared raised to x raised to 4 minus, we have to factor out our first, I factor out it already, which is x times 3x minus 2 times x plus 1 over, let's just make it more appealing because it doesn't look, it's 2x plus 1 all over x minus 1 squared x raised to 4. And that will be our final answer from our original problem, which is f of x is equal to 1 over x plus 1 over x squared all over x minus 1, or the simplified form, which is x plus 1 all over x minus 1 x squared. So that is all for our video for my final performance task in basic calculus. I would like to thank Ma'am Arlene Tanwenko for educating me for the second semester. And that's all, folks. See ya.